Yo, how's it going, YouTube? I'm back from the video, and today I'm going to be talking about how the Golden State Warriors could potentially make it back to the NBA Finals once again, or at least are going to be one of the best teams in the NBA again. And if you have been keeping up with the NBA, at least the preseason and offseason type of stuff, you would know that the Golden State Warriors have had a little bit of drama surrounded them lately, with the whole Draymond Green becoming a professional boxer knocking out Jordan Poole thing. The video got leaked. It was a big old thing, a big old deal. But from what I have seen, a lot of people are kind of overreacting from it and saying that the Golden State could be ruined, they could be done from that, and I just don't think that's going to be the case, and I'm getting to a few reasons why I do think later in this video. So if that does sound interesting to you, please stick around and watch the whole thing through. Please hit the like button, subscribe button, it would mean the absolute world to me. And without further ado, without running on too much, let's get right into this video. Okay, so the first thing that I want to give for this video is going to be what their key exits and their key additions were during this offseason. Because during this offseason, they did go through a lot of kind of change when it comes to the depth players on their roster. And I think that is one of the biggest reasons why I could see them potentially repeating, because although they did have a lot of big exits, they're one of those teams that seems like every year, no matter what situation they're put in, they're able to just reload perfectly and be once again at a high level of contending. So I'm beginning to a few of those right now. Some of the key exits they had start off with someone like Otto Porter, who just left in free agency to sign with the Toronto Raptors. Otto Porter was a very solid role player for the Warriors last year. He came up with a lot of big threes, was just a great plug-and-play type of guy, great veteran for them, and gave them a lot of valuable minutes. And then going to the next exit they had was Juan Descano Anderson. He was a fan favorite. He signed with the Los Angeles Lakers this offseason, and like I said, the entire fan base loved him. Everyone in the organization loved Juan Descano Anderson. Now, although he wasn't the biggest impactful player on the court, he was a great locker room presence to have, and they are going to miss him from that kind of prospect of things. But as far as the aspect of impacting them on the court, he kind of had a minimal impact there. But like I said, he was a glue guy that every team likes to have. And then another exit that they had was Damian Lee. Same thing with Damian Lee. He signed with the Phoenix Suns, but he did not have a huge impact on the court, and he wasn't a very big impact player, but he was a player that was with the Golden State Warriors for a few years, and he just was comfortable with the system, and they were comfortable with him on their team if they ever did have to put him in the game. And in those years where they were pretty bad because Steph Curry and Clay and all them were injured, he did get a lot of minutes, so he knew the system, and now they have to lose him and have to get somebody else that they feel comfortable with, so it's going to be a minimal loss as well. And then Valencia was another loss, and he actually went to Turkey overseas. I think that's where he's from. He wanted to go back home. He also got paid a lot to go over there, and he's actually going to be a bigger loss than a lot of people will see, because he actually did get a pretty significant playing time throughout the entire season. He was a very good floor spacer as a big man, and he was just able to really fit what the Golden State Warriors like to get out of their big men, especially one off of the bench, and he was just a very, very solid player for them. And then probably their second biggest loss of the entire offseason, Gary Payton II went to the Portland Trail Blazers. Gary Payton was a very good defender for the Golden State Warriors. He was once again another fan favorite. He was very athletic, and to lose him, they are going to have to replace him, because he was actually a pretty big piece of them for off their bench. But with that said, that pretty much wraps up the complete exits that they had, or at least the big name exits that they had. But some additions that they were actually able to make over the offseason is one, James Wiseman. And the reason I have James Wiseman on here, because yes, obviously he was on the team, but he did not play at all last year, and he was returning from injury. And anytime you can get a former #1 overall pick at a position that you're probably going to end up needing him at farther down the line this season is always going to be a big deal. And I really did like James Wiseman coming out of the draft. Now, I don't think he's going to be a superstar or anything, but I do think he has potential to be a DeAndre Ayton-esque player, and he's very athletic. He's going to be very good for them. He's going to be able to be pretty much a better Kevon Looney, I think, in the long run, and I think that's going to be a very big help for the Warriors, and he's going to be a bigger addition than a lot of people are giving them credit for. And then another one was Dante Divincenzo. They were able to get him through free agency. He played with the Kings for a little bit. He was okay over there, but now he's with the Warriors, and a player like Dante who plays hard, he can shoot the ball, he's very gritty, he likes to play on defense, he's always going to work hard, is a great player to help replace someone like Gary Payton II, who they lost. So I think Dante Divincenzo is going to be able to fill those shoes very, very well. And then they assigned another veteran in JaMychal Green. Once again, they got him through free agency. JaMychal Green, although he is probably past his prime from as far as a playing prospect, he knows how to win. He's been on a lot of teams. He's a veteran. He's not going to be, the moment's not going to be too big for him if they do get deep in the playoffs how they plan to be. So I think he is going to be a very solid solid signing for them in the long run and from a leadership perspective. And then their final addition was Tai Jerome, once again a free agent guy, and they brought in Tai Jerome because they wanted a more pass-first type guy. He's been in the league for a few years. You know what you're going to get out of him. He's going to be solid, and I think he is going to be a very solid contributor for them. And overall, I do think that they made a lot of good additions in this offseason, and I think the team is more than in a place good enough to once again try to compete for another NBA Finals going into the playoffs this year. Obviously, barring any huge injuries or anything like that, I think they reloaded very, very nicely, and they're one of the few teams that can consistently reload every single offseason despite losing pretty significant players. But now for the next thing that I want to get for his video is going to be the internal development potential for this team. And what I mean by that is what I think that some of the young guys on this team, how high their ceiling could possibly be. And the first guy I do want to get into is going to be James Wiseman once again. James Wiseman has quickly become one of the more forgotten about NBA players, and that's mainly due to an injury that kept him out for an entire season, but he was at one point a #1 overall pick for a reason, and he is a great center. He has tons of potential. He's a freak athlete. He can protect the rim. He can grab boards, and that's mainly all you have to do for someone like the Golden State Warriors or for a team like the Warriors, due to already how many scorers and shooters they have on the team. All he really has to do is be a good rim protector and grab rebounds, and that is exactly what someone like Wiseman can do, and he can do it at a better version than what Looney can, in my opinion. So I do think Wiseman is going to be a huge upgrade over Looney, and I also think Wiseman is a better offensive player than Kevon Looney. So I could very much imagine by the time playoffs roll around, see James Wiseman as their starting center, making a very significant impact on whether or not the Warriors win or lose games. So I think James Wiseman has a chance to really be a huge piece to this team, and I think over the year he's going to get better and better, especially for how young he is, and I think he's going to improve a ton throughout this season. And now my next guy is going to be Jonathan Kuminga. Jonathan Kuminga had a solid rookie season where he showed a lot of promise, and he isn't kind of like the perfect situation for how he plays, because going into the draft, I didn't love him as a prospect, but there was no denying his intangibles. He was a freak athlete, a very solid defender. He just had to work on his offense. But with how much floor spacing and how great the scorers are surrounding him, he doesn't have to worry about shooting really at all. He's getting open lanes to the rim, and teams really don't worry about him at all, and he's kind of in the perfect situation. So Kuminga, with his elite athleticism, his good defense, will probably have an even better second year as he gets more comfortable in the scheme and the system of the Warriors. And I think Kuminga is going to be able to thrive with the Golden State Warriors, and he's only going to improve going into his second NBA season. And the third guy is going to be Moses Moody, and Moses Moody was the 14th pick in the same draft as James Wiseman was picked in. Now, although he hasn't had a lot of NBA success, he has had success and major success at that pretty much at every single other standpoint when he's played. In the few games he played in the G League, he absolutely dominated, averaging 32 points per game, 6 rebounds per game, 2 assists per game, and 2 steals per game. And he just showed that he is definitely above a G League level player and deserves to be in the NBA. And then in the Summer League, once again, he absolutely dominated, as in the 2 games that he played, he averaged 28 points per game, 4 rebounds per game, 2 assists per game, and 1.5 steals per game, showing that he is a very good and reliable option no matter what level he's playing at. And then he just also had a 20-point game in the preseason, so he is showing that at every level he can compete and be a very solid player for the Warriors. So I'm sure this year, going to year 2, he's going to see a little bit more minutes at the actual NBA level, and I'm sure he's going to show that he is still a very usable NBA level player, and I think he's going to be able to impact them a lot, and he is going to develop a lot from year 1 to year 2. With how young he is, he's just going to keep developing, and he's just another one of a lot of young guys that the Warriors have that are going to make them have a brighter future than they already have. And now for the final guy, and probably the most obvious one that anyone would talk about when it comes to the Warriors young players, they have Jordan Poole. Now, yes, Jordan Poole had just gotten a lot of drama. He got punched in the face by well-known professional boxer Draymond Green. So although Jordan Jordan Poole does have all that distractions going on, I still fully expect Jordan Poole to be a very good player for them and probably even improve over what his season was last year, as since he's been drafted in the NBA in the 3 seasons, he has always improved in every major statistical category every single season, and I don't see anything different happening going into year 4. I think they're going to use him more, they're going to rely on him more, and he's just going to get better and better over time, because I do think that the Warriors already know that he is their long-term plan and future, assuming that he wants to stay with the team after getting a black eye, but that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about what he is going to do right now, and I think Jordan Poole is going to be a better player than he was last year, and I think he is going to get a lot better every single year he's in the league, and he's probably going to be around a 20 to 22 point per game scorer, and that's going to be extremely valuable for a team like the Warriors, and I think for sure he is going to be one of the best players in the NBA. He's going to be almost an all-star level player probably in the next year or 2, and I just think Poole is by far probably the most interesting and high upside guy that they have as a young guy on this team. And now the final thing that I want to give for his video is going to be that they still have the top tier talent. It is insane in a video about the Warriors that I'm about, 10 minutes in, and I haven't talked about Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, or Draymond Green outside of punching someone in the face at even one time. And that just shows you how talented of a roster that the Warriors have and how good they are at building a roster. But now it's time to get into stars. They still have some of the best players in the entire NBA. Curry is a top 5, top 10 player at all times. He's one of the best scorers of all time. He is the best shooter of all time, and he's just one of the best offensive players to ever play this game. So obviously, whenever a team has them, they're going to at least be a top tier playoff contender. And then you add someone like Klay Thompson, who's now 2 years removed from that injury. He's more comfortable. He had a full off season, a full training camp, and he should be fully ready to go. And he is probably going to be even better than he was last year. He's still one of the best shooters in the NBA, and I think overall, I think that Klay Thompson is going to be a great player for them once again. And then Draymond Green. Now, although Draymond Green has regressed offensively, he's still a great leader. He's still a great defender, and now he's even added a really nice right jab to his game. So it's really going to make a lot of people fear him. And all jokes aside, Draymond's still a very solid player, and I do think for sure one of the better defenders and smarter defenders. So for sure, I do think that the Warriors have a very nice player in him. And then they have Jordan Poole and Andrew Wiggins, who are both borderline all-star level players. Now, yes, Andrew Wiggins was an all-star starter last year, which I don't think he deserved, but he is an all-star level player, and so is Jordan Poole at this point in their careers. So when you have that much top-tier talent to go along with so many young guys on your roster, to go along with so many great role players, your team can only be so, there's almost no way that the Warriors won't be contending for another championship for back-to-back years. But unfortunately, guys, that's going to be for this video. So comment below, do you agree with me? Do you think the Warriors are once again going to find themselves in the finals? Or do you think a team's going to be able to knock them out early? Do you think they're going to run into injury problems? How do you think they're going to develop? Or do you think the drama is going to be too much? I really want to hear our thoughts in the comment section below. If you like the video point, hit the like button and subscribe button. It would mean the absolute world to me. And I hope you have a blessed day. Have a blessed day. So you need to have a blessed day. All glory to God. See you in the next video. Goodbye. Boo. Blah.